In order tonight, everyone please rise to the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you all for coming this evening. Our first order of business tonight is approval of our prior minutes.
I make a motion we accept our minutes.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I guess.
Okay, we'll move on to our reports. Andy?
All right, under water, the plant's treated 935,010 gallons of water since April 10th. Our average daily usage is at 66,786 per day. Filters were backwash on the 13th and 23rd. I've completed our annual SOC testing for 2018. We replaced one leaking meter setting. I replaced the bad transducer wire from the control panel to well number 4, and the well level gauge is back in normal operation. We had our annual pump testing completed by Peerless Midwest, and all of our pumps are still producing the same gallons per minute as last year. The project's complete, and all the new lines are in service. All the old water mains are disconnected, and the valves have been removed, and they will be working on surface restoration until it's complete. And paving on the street cuts is going to begin tomorrow. So, and they're trying to, they are behind schedule. They're supposed to be on their next job, so as long as the weather stays away, I mean, they're going to be on it to get out of here and get everything done. Under wastewater, been performing daily checks at the lift station and the sewer plant. Sewer plant's closed and we are not discharging. The weekly sewer samples are complete. We replaced the bad valve behind the outfall structure on the south pond, so it's back in normal service. And we had our annual wastewater inspection this week, and everything was satisfactory with the exception of our daily influent numbers. I'll be honest about it. So, just something to think about. I've been putting street signs together, get the rest of those assembled, and actually start putting them out here probably next week, get them on the posts. The shelter house drainage work is complete and should make a huge difference, and I replaced the meter setting while the area was excavated. It was still one of the old copper setters, and the water, I just want everyone to know that the water line to the bathroom is half-inch galvanized pipe, and it's in pretty poor condition. So with this bathroom remodel and adding all these extra toilets, we probably want to look at replacing that line when we do. And then I have an estimate from Ace Paving to repair our street cuts. The cuts over there at the park, that drainage, those are on us. It's gonna be cheaper. And then I've got that big cut on Central where we had to fix that water leak over there. And then it'll also include all the potholes, and we've got over 120 potholes. And their cost was $5,600. And if you guys are okay with it, I'd like to get approval with it so I can get them on the schedule, because we just soon get these street cuts fixed and all the potholes repaired before, you know, any much longer, because we've got some pretty bad ones down there. I mean, you guys probably don't drive down Adams Street a lot, but it's horrible.
I think they all are, every street.
I'll make a motion we appropriate the funds to take care of this pothole situation.
I'll second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Let them know so we can get that scheduled. Then I want to give a special thank you to Bill Watson, the owner of Watson's Excavating. They have replaced the bad sanitary sewer by the town garage, including installing 2 new manholes, which this eliminated a leaking sewer tap and that line that's been draining the backyard into our sanitary sewer. They also installed new storm drains at the town garage, which will eliminate the flooding and allow it to be finished. And he did all this free of charge for our cooperation and help on this project. And for those of you who don't remember, our lowest previous bid for that work was over $24,000. So it's pretty great. Get all that taken care of. Tobacco's having transmission issues and has some metal shavings on the transmission dipstick. I'm going to be getting prices on that for repairs. I'm not sure if it's a transmission issue or if it's the parking brake, but we got something going on in there that's not good. It was having issues the other day. The speed was low on it from what it normally is. So I'm not quite sure what's going on. I'm going to try to get hold of Reynolds or somebody else and see if we can get it diagnosed and get a cost on getting it fixed. It's 25 years old now. The new water main for the ball diamonds in service and the park's on, and the bathrooms and the press box are on and in service. I just left the concession stand off for now. In our building, had 3 building inspections, 2 building permits issued, 1 building permit inquiry, 1 zoning inquiry, and then the April census report's complete and it's been submitted. That's all I have. Unless you have any questions about anything?
Thank you.
Fred, Andy needs a big thank you too for that water project.
Yes, thank
You
you.
went hard.
It has. It's been great. It's been a good project. They've been really good to work with, and I mean, all things considered, it went really fast, as bad as the weather was. So I'm tickled to death.
Yeah,
We got a lot of stuff taken care of.
we did. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Murray's absent this evening, so Robin, you have anything you need to
Not till new
report?
business, but I
Okay.
just remembered.
Okay. Jerry, fire department?
Well, I did not prepare a report for you. I intended to do that over lunch hour today, and it did not happen, and I apologize for that. But I wanted to update the board that on Friday of last week, we had both apparatuses out at the station pump tested, both passed. I was concerned with the older squad, since that truck had sit there for 3 years and had been out of service. But both units did pass, which that's good. We also, in the last couple of weeks, I've had the air packs serviced, the 4 air packs that we have currently down at the department. They were serviced by Hoosier Fire. All 4 packs passed their flow test, which is a good thing. The thing that they found an issue with, all 4 packs have a battery compartment that activates the voice command on them, and those were all corroded and they all had to be replaced. And that's just from just not being used and the batteries not being checked in them. So that's something that we'll, in the future, we'll have to be a little bit more about that and do the maintenance on them. All air bottles that we had on station had to be hydrostated. It was time for that, and all those passed. Been working on department bylaws whenever I've had some spare time. Those, I think I told you here, it's been probably about a month ago, that those had not been updated since 1998. That's actually 89 that they hadn't been touched. So it's time.
Yeah.
Time to update those. One of the things that's kind of holding us up, and Robin and I spoke earlier about this, and I think there's a way around this, but with the radio issue that we have with the township, I've not been able to put talk groups in those radios, our talk groups. I was out in Washington DC last year, was able to talk to some people out there. They think I can go through the county since they own the license to those radios. So I should be able to, well, hopefully I told Robin I would approach, what's his name? Mr. Snowden, who's the Director of Communications, and see if that's something we can do. As we all know, we've asked for those radios to be put in the town's name. The township trustee has said no, not until the council signs off on the territory. And so that's kind of been a hiccup. And so hopefully we can make that happen.
Is that true? Is that the last option?
Yeah, that would be the last option. Well, the other option would be to give them our radios back and purchase, or at least see if they give us loaner radios. That would be the other. So, still working on run cards or run orders for the department. We need to finish those. And that's all I have, unless you have some questions for me.
Jerry, is the radio piece the only thing left holding us up and going online?
That and the run cards.
Okay.
The run orders or run cards. That, we have to let control know what we want brought into this town in the event of an emergency or an incident.
Okay.
I've asked control, or I've asked communications to, if I could have what is currently being used in town, and I have yet to receive those. I figured, why reinvent the wheel if we could just look at what our department to the south of us is using in town and just telling us what we want, or we may have to tweak it a little bit, but because we would be first out. But we also want to look to see who would be coming in also. So.
How difficult, can you explain that to me?
What's that?
I'm sorry. Like how difficult or time consuming is that?
It's if I don't get what they have currently down there, then we've got to sit down there and write everything on the board and figure out who we want coming. And they want us to go 30 deep, 30 departments deep, which when you stop and think, that's a lot of departments.
And that's not like public record or anything that we can just get from?
It is public record. At least I would think it would be. And I've asked for it. They've just yet to receive it. So, and as I talk to Mr. Snowden tomorrow, I'll ask again. I'll go through a little different channel this time.
Would our neighbors at White River, would they have that information?
They have run orders or run cards, but it's for their department. So we've started the process of myself and the two assistant chiefs of sitting down and starting that, but we need to look at what is already here, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Why reinvent the wheel when if we can copy or paste whatever, it would be easier than sitting there writing everything down and figuring out, who we want to come. So when we first started that process, they wanted us to go 8 departments deep, and now they want us to go 30. So,
Is there any reason why, and I'm not really up on all that, Jerry, is there any reason why, say you get 8 and you go to the 9th or the 10th department, is there any reason why that number 10 department would reject? So there's not a question whether they accept.
I think what it is, Toby, is that they, instead of the dispatcher making that call down there in the wherever, where they're situated down there, they want the departments to tell them what they want to come. In other words, we've had incidences in town before where they've called from counties around us. But back in those days, the dispatchers made those calls. So they want to be able to pull it up on the screen and say, this is who the town of Atlanta or the Atlanta Fire Department wants coming in to assist them.
Okay, I see.
So instead of them making the call and making the wrong call. So, but 30 departments, that's a lot of departments when you stop and think about it. So, but we'll continue to plug along with that, and hopefully we can make this other thing work and get our talk routes into those radios. And if they tell me no, then we're going to have to look at another avenue. And that avenue may either be purchase new radios, which I have a price. I've gotten a price for that. It's $26,000 to replace the 5 that we have down here. That's a lot of money. or ask for some loaners, and then look at grant money after that and try to purchase those radios and whatever else we need. So,
And what exactly does the township, I mean, what exactly are we wanting the township to do?
but currently the 5 radios that are down at the station are in the name of Jackson Township.
Okay,
But they're Atlanta's radios that went into the territory, right?
But they're under the township's name. They're the ones making the payments on those, and we have asked for, well, the town council has said, you know, if we can get them in our name, we'll pick up those payments. But the township trustee is not willing to do that.
Unless the town signs off on
Everything.
Yes,
everything related
Yes, to the territory.
Fire territory.
yes. She's holding that over our head. So, again, I hate to bring the bad news, but that's just the truth.
But we do have a chance.
We do have a
I talked to
chance.
Ryan Horine too,
Right,
and he thinks
right.
there's a way around it. What,
I thought the county was gonna lend us radios.
the county did tell us that,
Right.
that they would help us
Right.
out, so.
And that may be the way we wanna go. If I talk to Snowden tomorrow and ask him if they have loaners, maybe we just say, we give them back to them and we go on with what, you know. So,
You're talking to him tomorrow?
yes. If he's in. Thank you, unless you have any questions.
Any questions from council, citizens? Okay, thank you, Jerry.
Yep.
We'll move on to old business tonight. Brenda Meyer's back with us this evening.
The smart one.
No pressure, Sarah.
Last time we proposed renovating, using the rest of the USDA grant, plus finding another $4,000 to $7,000 to finish to work on the restrooms, not only for your community, but also for the upcoming train excursions. And it was proposed that we look at the jail, and we did have an architect render out what we could do on the old jail. It would actually run at budget instead of us having, we'll find that other money, guys, don't worry about it, but but unfortunately, you know, we get 2 stalls out versus, you know, and I recognize that it's gonna be a problem for y'all to hold these restrooms off 3 weeks. We do know that the architect did have the door centered to the right of the HVAC unit, so that shouldn't be a problem for you. I heard Andy say that, you have a line that you might need to have upgraded to take on this extra.
Yeah, I just found out about it the other day, doing some other work.
I don't know if it's cheaper to bundle it into this project. I mean, one of the things that we were proposing to do, and I think that would be asking, if we do keep them in the community center, is the flooring. We could save about $4,000 if we don't do ceramic. But we could do an industrial vinyl, but I wanna make sure if you have any flooding issues in there, what your preference would be. I also told Sarah, we ought to look at epoxy. Is anybody seen epoxy restrooms? They have them at my church. They seem very durable. And they also give you a little bit of a grip.
That concrete under there's not that great.
It's not that good, okay.
It's cracked and stuff, that's why we tiled it.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we'll do what works best for the situation, and we'll figure it out. If it's 7 versus 4, I mean, we have to do what's right and holds up. I wanna make sure it's not slick though, you know what I mean? Whatever they choose, it has a little texture to it or something, because they will be coming right into the restroom area. And so, do we have any other information on that?
The only other thing is there's a packet in there about the train, but that's.
Yeah, that is not for, please don't put that on your Facebook. I want my daughter. Just put it on her Instagram, actually. We'd like to not just have that sort of be out there public, but we did visit the train equipment yesterday, and these pictures don't do it justice. It's pretty jaw-dropping. They're really impressive. We're gonna be able to, it says in there that we're gonna convert the sleeping rooms into a dining car, but I think we've actually decided to have 8 private dining rooms in the car, which would be really cool for a special occasion, I think. They'll be small and intimate, but they'd be really cool. So, but the equipment is pretty fabulous. So we just, you know, we wanna kinda keep things quiet for a while, but We are on target, I think, to, the windows will be delivered in early May. It takes 96 screws for every window, by the way. And then new windows, the new safety glass will be installed, and the trains will be up here. The mobilization cost of the trains are running $200,000 instead of $100,000. That's to transport them by rail and truck. So we're working on that bake sale. And and my daughter had an accident today. So really, no, she's okay. It's just not something we really needed. But as I was listening to all of you talk about some of the extra expenses that you have on your plate, I said to Sarah, I feel better. Because you all have a lot of things that you're dealing with. So I really feel for you. Questions, concerns about doing any other options? We will not have toilets on these trains. We have to have toilets.
Well, if you're doing events year round, I think the shelter house is the best place, but I think we can get this done with local contractors. We can
You
use
can?
them as
Would you be
for-
willing to bid that out? I mean,
Oh,
okay, so you could take care of that?
This
Oh,
group
yeah.
is local. I don't know if that.
It is a local group, but
No.
you're saying local.
I'm talking about local.
Local. Okay, will you get that estimate for us?
What kind of deadline do you want?
Well, the USDA grant we have 18 months, so I think as long as we get it done by like August 15th, we'll be fine.
And from your timeline, it was July 9th to the 30th that you could.
If it's gonna take 3 weeks that we need.
Well, that's what the other
That's what-
contractor said. I mean, he had a large crew that was gonna come in, so I think that would be the other things, making sure there's enough staff mobilized to do it. And I would assume you all, if your property, Andy or someone will supervise them. I mean, Sarah and I could come up and go, that's nice, but really, probably, we could edit something for you, but.
Some other costs include like local high school service groups teaching help. So that is another thing we should think about. People are able to help and willing to help. I've reached out to the schools.
They would paint the gazebo. I mean, that's a other part of the project, right?
And the gazebo painting outside, any kind of help, with demo, things like that. We
Is that in their budget? That they will have assistance for that? Okay. That's a good point.
Now, one question I had, Brenda, on the addition, would obviously be on the east side of the building.
Right.
Now, the roof line, I mean, is that, it stays?
I think
mean,
it just
Basically, you're just
repurposed.
tearing down what's inside.
Right, you're just
Yeah.
it's like
Yeah, they're
reformatting what's inside. I think
I was
Gotcha.
measuring it the other day in that plan. I mean, plus it's shrinking the furnace room down.
which is a little bit of storage, right, for you too?
Mhm.
I was worried
So
about that.
the current
Stays the
structure
same.
stays the same?
Yeah, everything stays the same. They're just gonna open a door on the outside so that you can lock the
It'd be north of
doors.
the air conditioner, the door. It's something we have to think about, to stay ADA compliant, we'll have to put a sidewalk in out to the parking lot.
Good point.
Which means we're probably gonna have to change the layout of the playground a little bit, move that fence, because you can't have a kid running through the mulch and trip and bash their head on the concrete.
So,
Well, if you're
to be
thinking with-
ADA compliant, right, because I remember talking with Aaron about it, can't they still get in through the side door?
No, it depends on what's going on, somebody else could have.
Yes,
a
I said the
brand
goal was to try to prevent people from wandering in the community center
Right.
unless it was supervised, right?
Yeah.
I mean, but
And it'll
if
still
you thought
be-
we could get the price down, Andy, we could, maybe reallocate some of those costs to fence change, because we do have to.
It would still be better because you got a bunch of people going through the grass, or if it's mushy, it's gonna get muddy.
Yeah.
Next to
Yeah.
the sidewalk?
Yeah, it'd be better to have a
And we
sidewalk.
still have to figure out, we still have to open the gate up, to the playground, right? We
I'll
decided.
get that.
You can get that, okay.
I
And then
got
we
it.
still don't have money, this leaves us no money for the fence, but we do have the tree line,
Yeah, the tree's nice.
which is fine, probably. We can prioritize, we can do some other stuff down the road when we're making a lot of money.
Are you talking about the fence along the
Yeah.
property?
Yeah, I thought we were
Yeah.
doing the trees.
The
instead of
council
fence.
already approved that.
As far as you all paying for it versus, okay. Well, we do have tons of volunteers from the high school who would like to paint, because if you want to do any other additions, we will be going in for that grant again to get the loading platform, the flat. The other thing we need to talk about is I need to talk to the train people about removing the Eagle Scout project, and because we're just, this thing lands about this far off the ground. I mean, it just takes a little step.
Yeah.
It's gonna have, in fact, I think we're gonna put ramps. it's because it's so low, that's why we have to build a pit, $30,000 pit, because the trains ride so low, people can't go under them. They have to go under them. Yeah, and we're working with Tipton, Holt is working with Tipton and everything on that train.
Are you gonna see if they wanna take that platform, or you just want it gone?
I was just gonna ask them, but I don't think we're not gonna use it. So I was thinking it was just a nuisance then, if you
Well, I'm
like.
saying I could get rid of it.
You can, okay.
Yeah, I mean, nobody cares.
I don't care. Yeah, we don't have a need
I
for
just
it.
see people playing on it too, thinking
Well,
that
that's all
it's
they
where
do
they're
now.
supposed to be. And
Right.
it could be a weird spot.
The funny part is they built that, but then they always unload it on the other side.
Because they gave us the specification for it, and then they told us it was wrong. Yeah, this one will just load flat, and then at some point, if we get a grant to install a big. Yeah. Are there other questions? Because this is your public facility, so.
As far as the finances go for this project, are there any expectations from the town of Atlanta?
Well, you all had 5 budgeted towards the project, which you've not remitted yet, right? We paid last year's bill, and then there's an accounts receivable from you to us. We're just holding on our books until you get reimbursed. And then I've talked to Robin about cash flow for you all. If you need cash flow, we can pay this bill and again do the same thing and do an accounts receivable, you know what I mean, from
much
you
money
all
is-
until the USDA. And Robin said that ironically, the federal government's actually pretty fast about reimbursements.
How much money is left to spend?
It's 40,
47?
47, and this is 52, right?
Something like that.
Yeah, so it's 47 including your 5,
47,000 total budget.
right?
It's 54, but it was 56 with the outside entrance.
Right.
Oh, and if we took it down $4,000, that makes it 52.
Right. I don't know.
I did not.
You know what, we will send you exact specifics, because I've got the little spreadsheet in my office.
So, we need to,
Agree to move forward with the project, but you bid it out. The bid, do you wanna do that, or?
Oh,
Okay.
I think
You're comfortable with that?
I think
Okay.
we get it done for less than
And-
myself.
And any money we have left over, we can, continue, we can help you with the fence or do the fence, you know, we can put the sidewalk in and that kind of thing. It is really important to us that everything be done to support the town and then the drains. I mean, this the town has to come first. So I totally heard you last meeting that it's gonna be a bother to lose your restrooms for 3 weeks. But in the long run, you'll have more, it'll be nice to have bigger capacity. And it'll have a family room. It's nice.
It's definitely a need with the train running.
Yeah, it really, it will be really helpful, because we have one on the other end of the depot. And so we'll have to bring in portalettes for special occasions is what we'll have to do. Just because inevitably, someone will get down there and need to go to the bathroom, right? So we've all had children or, yeah, people of a certain age that, you know, you just never go. You just never take anything for granted, that's my theory.
But you're looking at a proposed deadline of July the 9th.
Well, we really need to have this sort of turned back into USDA sometime by August 15th. And so we've got a little window in there, but you had looked at the calendar and there was a 3-week open span that you're kind of holding for this, is that right?
I wasn't holding for it, I just looked at it and.
That was the best,
If
okay.
we're gonna do it, let's do it here.
Is there another 3-week span earlier, if it can be done earlier? Versus- It's up to you. It is, as you know, it's hard to line up for a contractor these days, so it may take all the way till July 9th, right?
Maybe you always do one side at a time, so you'd have a bathroom functioning while the project is going on,
Wide open.
you know? Wouldn't be that big a thing, you know, unisex bathrooms or rental or something.
That's a good point.
It's not rented at all, okay? Oh, except for the 19th.
Those trains have a lot of storage on it.
It depends on if you can get it done. I mean, if it's gonna take 3 weeks, then
And probably realistically, don't you think you allow 3 weeks?
Probably, yeah.
Then maybe
So
that-
basically, just so I understand this, we'll adjust the interior of what's currently there and then
In the bathroom
reconstruct,
area, yeah.
Reconfigure it,
reconfigure.
move your utilities and
It's gonna happen in
Yeah,
about
door out.
5 days.
You have 2
put
to
the
the
door out
minutes.
for the hallway.
You want, yeah.
See that right
It's
there?
it's another, one of the women's, here, I'll show you, it's another restroom in the women's, and then here's the family restroom, and then here, the men's only
Well,
has 2 right now, right?
It'd be the exterior entry one, it'd be the far one.
Oh, yeah, sorry, I was like, okay, so,
And
here's the men's,
move the urinals.
and then the women has all, then we have all of these extra. There actually isn't a family.
Does everyone understand that?
So the biggest thing is is redirecting how you get into them, right? And the second biggest thing is adding the capacity. Are they repurposing any of the current fixtures,
We were talking about the sinks,
sinks?
I think they were saying that they looked good, and,
No, the water heater's new.
yeah, I mean, all of that, they were saying.
Anything they can salvage, they will.
It's gotta be July, just 3 weeks.
Okay. So July 9th through 30th, right?
Any questions from the council tonight? Now would be the time to ask if you,
You saw that the ties have been, the first load of ties, of 4,800 ties have been delivered. And so, that restoration, I think, will begin around May 5th or so, and they will start up here and work their way south. Brush cutting won't happen until June because we missed the deadline to get in early, so that'll happen too, so. And, they are running about, I can't remember what the number is, but it's a lot of ties per mile, you might guess, so.
sure.
You were mentioning to her about the landscaper.
Oh, yeah. I'll have to have you go look at the park over there. You may want to get the landscaper back to replant them junipers. They're doing the Easter egg hunt.
Uh-huh.
I don't know if the ground was too hard or what, but it's just like, some of them are just like the root ball sitting on top of the ground.
They heaved up and over the winter.
Yeah, they need to be.
Okay. Well, and the other, I was here the other day and the corner of the pit was off.
Yeah,
Well,
that's-
the seat on that wall has fallen off. It's laying.
We need to get him out, because he would not want that.
Kids been riding their bicycle on it.
Yeah, it's laying. It's
I think
laying.
someone did predict that too.
It's laying on the ground in the flower bed.
Okay.
The seatbelt fell off, and then the junipers, is that what you said?
The junipers need to be redug and.
Yeah, because they've kind of gone wonky over the winter.
I don't know. But they must have not planted very deep.
No, they're not.
Usually you allow for that sort of heave. I was worried when I saw the wall. Even with bicycles on it, I don't think it should. It should take a little more, just a little more than that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not these kids, not these kids.
Maybe they'll, when they're old enough, we'll just hire them for the train. They'll
Yeah.
be busy.
My son's best friend was talking about riding his bike in the gazebo, and I just,
Oh, yeah, the stairs don't even bother. her.
I know
It's just a- it's
she
just a ramp.
said she was just thinking,
he was like, he's
yeah,
a tiny
I
little
know.
9-year-old hooligan.
Well, anything else? We really appreciate it. It was a legitimate question last time, and I'm sorry I didn't have an answer for it. My Sarah's here today. Thank you all. You know, we'll come back, we'll know a lot, and we can either have a special executive session before and just really go through the details, but we do need to meet and negotiate. And maybe this is something Andy for you to answer, is an anticipated extra water flow because of the, I don't know how many extra flushes there'll be a day, but there will be extra. And as we negotiate a contract with you to sort of borrow those restrooms, we wanna make sure we clean them, I think I mentioned that last time, and pay for the extra water and some sort of a agreement that if they get damaged, you know, I think all that ought to be in place for you, you know what I mean? Just.
Sounds good, Brenda.
We've also run the trains have laptop trays, so we may not really need the community So then we may serve casual meals in the car. We're just trying to decide. Sarah had a big juice box. She was explaining to me about how juice boxes can get squished and.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, fountains.
I'm like, it's been a while, so. Well, thank you all. You just.
Thank you.
So we'll come back, you just let us know. And I'll work with you on the cash flow. I mean, well, we can anticipate we can pay the bill, and then we can just at the end, when you get reimbursed, you can reimburse us for everything. If that works out best for you.
Do we need to move on anything for you tonight?
Other than you're gonna probably table this. You don't have to physically do it, but I just assume you're gonna table this estimate and then try to find an estimate that you think. And then will you go on then beyond that, Andy, and get an estimate for the sidewalk?
Yeah, I'll get it
Okay.
for all of it.
Okay,
Yeah.
great, okay, awesome. And then let us know when we can come back, or,
Okay.
and you know what I will do, Robin and Fred, we will go back to our little spreadsheet and give you an exact amount, so you'll know how much you have to use.
Oh, we have 47, I was just doing a math for.
Oh, we have 47,000, does that include their 5,000, right? Yeah, I thought so, but, okay. Thank you all, thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Brenda. Any discussion in regards to?
It's gonna be a nice design. Less than that, I really do.
I got a lot of questions.
I think there would be contractors that could.
I mean, even if you split it and did a few things with a few different ones, I mean, it's not that big. I really think you can get it done. I think you can get it done for less than the budget. I really do.
Can you move forward with that?
Yeah, I'll call some people, yeah. Make some copies of these
Yeah,
plans.
we've got the plans here to go off of, and
Yeah.
I assume it's this exterior, this plan here that,
With the extra outdoors.
yeah, this makes sense.
Yeah, because that way we can lock up the other doors when they're just using the bathrooms.
And there is a way that we could do that. I was thinking of, you can put locks on those bathroom doors going into the shelter house to where it would be secured.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, put a double-sided deadbolt on it. And
Right.
you can have it open or closed for, depending on what your event was. Yeah.
All right, if there's nothing else with that, we'll move on to our next order of old business. A couple of meetings back, we as a board made a decision to purchase some land that surrounds the water plant, and per our attorney's advice, we need to rescind that decision tonight and adopt a resolution in regards to purchasing that land. There are some legal requirements that we have as a council, that we must get 2 appraisals to purchase this property. And we can pay less than the appraisal, but state statute forbids that we pay more. So I guess my first request would be a motion that we rescind the decision to purchase that land.
I'll make that motion.
Do I hear a second?
No second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And then the next motion I'm going to ask you for is a resolution confirming interest by the town in the purchase of real estate. This is the legal means, how we should proceed with this, and this document just confirms the acreage, 4.5 acres.
It's 4.25.
Okay, 4.25 to be exact.
Yep.
Okay, we'll make note of that in this resolution, 4.25. And it also lists the owners. And then, as purchasing agent, we are to appoint 2 appraisers. There's 2 listed here, I believe Manny acquired those. Mark Kutzer and Mark Ratterman. I
was gonna say use
Well,
heirs.
you pick whatever you want, and I can go over and just
Okay.
change
Do you-
the acreage and the names of.
Do we know of any appraisers?
Brian Ayers. He sells all kinds of land in Hamilton County.
Okay. Do you have a second one? Do we know, or do we have Brian as one and then use either one of these gentlemen as a second? So we can have 2,
Kutzer's from Plainfield and Ratterman's office is on North Meridian Street, if that makes any difference at all.
okay. Well, let's stay with Mark Kutzer and then Keith Ayer.
Brian?
Brian Ayer.
Brian Ayer. For the appraisals, that is required that we.
Which one are you keeping?
The first one,
Okay.
and then add Brian Ayer as the second one. Also, it mentions here a third party to inspect, test, and examine the real estate as it determines necessary and appropriate. I assume that would include a title search to be sure there's no liens.
Pinnacle's doing that.
Pardon me?
Pinnacle.
Pinnacle?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's already been in place.
Well, I'll make a motion that the town to take necessary legal action to purchase, including naming Mark Kuzner and Brian Ayer as the inspectors, or the appraisers, for the said property of 4.5 acres.
We have a motion on the table. Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Robin comes with a clean copy, I'll need your signature. All right, any other old business from the floor tonight?
Oh, Endeavor.
I sent a letter to the bond company and told them, and, sent the information and told them that we were going after their bond. And I got an email from Shantae, can't remember her last name, and she said that it was denied and that they were not bonded by them anymore.
Well,
So I called her and I said,
we didn't cancel it.
I called her and said during the period of the bonding period is when this liability occurred. And she said, let me do some more checking and I will call you back in a couple of days. And that was yesterday when I talked to her, so.
Put it on for next meeting.
I'll tell you, I had an idea for you guys. We did this before in a different circumstance, but I know it sounds odd, but what if, whatever that is, $7,000. We just get a credit from Endeavor on our phone bill and let it run out forever. I mean, we're still getting the money back.
Endeavor stopped talking to us about it even.
Yeah.
I mean,
They're gonna talk to you when they find out they're gonna have a bond claim because it'll hurt their rating and every project they do from here on out just goes up.
Well, maybe at this point too, we could get Manny involved.
yeah, I mean, we
Send a letter.
can. It's just with Manny, it's a new case. And so we have to pay.
I see.
You know, so are we gonna end up paying a couple thousand to get 7,000 back? So, I mean, I think we need to kind of wait and see what this girl finds out from the bonding company before we.
Well, I think it's part of the problem too. I mean, I guess somebody in Endeavor needs to understand. As part of the issuance of their permit, they signed a contract. It says right in it, they will do this. I mean,
How did that originally go down? And that whole, kind of refresh our memory on
well,
that.
you know, we had a problem with them, and they came in, were doing work and caused a lot of damage, so we put a stop work on them and forced them to get a permit because they were working in our right of way. And we stated, Tom Schubert actually came up with most of the list, but we stated all this, you know, stipulated all the points and everything that they were gonna be responsible for. And Endeavor's trying to be tricky and pawn this off on their subcontractor, but.
So basically, we paid the bill to have the restoration work done, correct?
Correct.
That's what this $7,000 bill
Yes.
was for,
Yep.
restoration.
It's both grass, alley, dirt, and paving. It was.
And Endeavor was not doing the restoration work.
Well, they tried to pawn it off on their contractor who would never come, and we gave them a deadline and said, this gotta be done. And if you remember, festival was coming and there were holes in the street and everything else, so we gave them a deadline, they didn't meet it, we brought contractors in and, you know, we got the work done. But now Endeavor's trying to say, oh, your problem's with CSU, they did it. It's like, that's not how it works. I mean, you hire a guy to paint your house and one of his workers breaks your window out, you don't say, oh, you gotta talk to my worker, that's not my problem.
The last correspondence I had with them was December, when I said the council wanted the matter settled by the end of the year. And they never responded.
What do you think is a reasonable amount of time to wait on her, Rob, to get back?
She told me, I talked to her yesterday and she said, give me a couple of days and I'll call you back,
Well,
so.
maybe she'll get back with you with a positive response.
Who's the representative for Atlanta's district on Endeavor? I seen they just had their election going and.
Brad Henderson.
Yeah, there you go.
Who?
Brad Henderson, Denny's boy.
Wonder if we can contact him and, being that he's representing our district, maybe make some contact with the head office and see if they can get anything done.
That's not a bad idea.
No, it's not. That'd be
Did you talk to Matt?
No, it was, I talked to the CEO of Endeavor and he said, send me the information and we'll get it taken care of. I sent it to him and he forwarded it to Jay. And Jay told me that, we needed to go after CSU, and I told Jay that we did not feel that we needed to go after CSU for our contract with them, and that we would like to avoid contacting the bond company, and I never heard back from him. And that was in December.
Well, you gotta wait 2 or 3 days, see if we hear back from her. Somebody's trying to push the buck somewhere, you know, maybe get an answer.
So he's pushed it to somebody else.
Yeah, and they're in another state, I don't remember what state they're in, so I think they probably just sent me a quick little standard answer thinking I would go away, and so. I have some new business, but.
Was there any other old business? Anything else? Okay, we'll move on to new business tonight.
I forgot this one. Andy and I met with these people, because Manny's been kind of wanting us to talk about the, I am so sorry, the paving money,
Grants?
what am I trying to say?
Paving grants.
Crossing grant.
The community crossing grant, thank you. So we met with these people, and they're nice and impressive, but they're also pricey, so.
Should be passing
Oh,
something.
she got more? Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't, obviously I'm not. Is that fine?
Aren't you sweet?
Got another one?
So,
Thank you.
I mean, here's where it is. Triad owes us. Do we trust Triad? How confident are you two that we can get this done ourselves?
I mean, these guys did seem very nice, very knowledgeable, but if you buy their whole little package, it's almost $12,000.
Right, and that's $12,000 we can put on our streets if we get the grant.
Yeah, I think that being that what took place last year, I think we'll get top service this year because, you know, the owner of the company had Jonathan come up here to the town board meeting and, you know, lay it out on the line that it was definitely his fault. He made an error by not submitting all the paperwork. And he also came to Arcadia due to the error he made down there and talked to me about that. So I've got a feeling that he's going to be on the top of this thing this coming year. And they promised us to do it for free. And what we need to do, which with my experience is to ride him from the very start. As soon as that application comes out, call him and insist that he gets it done instead of wait till the last minute and then send it. I'd make him send it to me and I review it before we have him send it in. I didn't let him, that way I could see that everything was there, because you can get online and see the application and everything. You can fill it out yourself if you feel comfortable doing it. And the representatives for this district through DOT will help with any questions or whatever. They said, you know, it's a pretty simple application. And, you know, I'm going to take a look at it myself since we've done it 2 years in a row and I've got mine to compare some of the information off of. I may fill mine out ourselves this year for Arcadia.
I've asked you this before, but do you know the deadline for the next one coming out? Or is that even?
They haven't announced it
They
yet.
haven't announced it.
They haven't announced it, but it should be coming out pretty soon because they award them in August, I think, 1st. So it should be coming up pretty soon for applications for, they call it year 219 is what it will be. But if you have your project ready and everything and you get your contractor and everything, they award that money out, you can start. You can still get in this fall if you can get contractors set up.
So there's a chance that we could do that work
Yeah.
before winter.
Yeah, you can get contractors, which they'll probably be busy with all the other, you know, this year's paving contracts that they awarded out, because there's a bunch.
My thing about this is, I'm not saying these guys do a good job, bad job, or anything, but there's no guarantee.
No, I mean, they're 100% right now. Everyone
Right,
they've applied
but-
for, they've gotten, but it's more competitive this year too, so it's not to say this won't be the first year that somebody wouldn't get awarded. But, do we have to update our asphalt management plan too?
No,
Our
we
pavement
just did it
management?
last year, it's good for 2 years.
Didn't we do it the year before last?
It's did it last year.
you can submit that one where there hasn't been any changes or upgrades or improvements to the streets, so I have to upgrade mine next year. And DOT, at the seminar I went to at DOT, they said that they would like entities to do that every year, because the feds use those asset management for your streets to determine how much money they're going to give the states to work with. So it's only required every 2 years, but they ask that we do it every year to help get more money for the state to do these projects. So ours, we didn't do ours last year, but I'm going to have to do mine anyway because it'll be second year for me, and we did do a lot of paving down there. So if we have that asset management plan, we can go ahead and send it in with this application for Atlanta and use the one we got, since there's been no upgrades.
Well, we'll keep our fingers crossed that we're awarded this time, because we definitely need it. Definitely need it. Okay, any other new business tonight?
I've got a question here on this, for one. This quote for the stage, is that something that we need to make a decision on now?
We did
just so
that
they know?
during the festival meeting.
Oh, okay. Alrighty.
Jennifer did have a couple questions that she's gonna try to get answered on the contract piece. There's
Okay.
wanting some money up front.
Okay.
Have you heard any more about the backstop?
Yeah, there was a check sent to him for the materials Thursday. And he said it'd be 8 weeks to be max before he could, somewhere between now and 8 weeks, he's shorthanded. So that should be getting taken care of. Speaking of the backstop, I met with Steve Stackhouse down there one day last week, Wednesday I believe it was. And he walked through everything and looked at all of it, and he looked at the backstop. The guy from Hendershot Fence said that when he looked at that fence, it ain't gonna go nowhere with the winds and stuff. But he said, those pipes up there, if they're not secured, we need to anchor them back or take them down. And when I was out there, I was looking at it with Stackhouse, and the pipes that are still up there, they're pretty secure with like 4 or 5 straps holding them to the fence, and they're on the outside of the fence. So they went ahead and moved the barricades so they could use that field for practicing also. And Steve said that if the town would purchase the material, the softening and fascia and stuff, he would finish the concession stand that was never completed. And they are looking to get a mower too, and he said that they will be mowing that field out there. He's trying to get a loan. He was going to hire a contractor to keep it mowed and stuff, but he said then they got the cost of it. He said it's just a little too much, so he's trying to get Reynolds to get him a mower to use out there. So he said they'll take care of that. And he also told me anything that we're working on as far as the town that we said we'd take care of, that, he said just get him a holler. If he ain't doing anything, he'd come and help too. So he's a member of that primetime baseball organization, so I thought that was pretty nice. And I told them that they need to come up here and sign out the keys, that they have to come here and sign a card themselves.
Okay.
Once they get keys, we'll change that lock out on the gate. Andy bought a combination lock where they can get in for the time being, so they don't have to have keys. So only the head people down there and the coaches that are practicing have the combination to the gate. And Andy turned the water on yesterday, so everything's good to go there except for the concession stand. It's still been shut down because the sewers broke. So that's another issue we gotta address.
Okay.
Now, if you tell them, if somebody wants to come up there, but you tell them those bathrooms need clean before they,
I'll get ahold of Steve and let him know.
if they're planning on using them like their next practice or something.
No one's come and got a key yet, have they, Robert? Okay, I just told Ryan, and he said he had, tried to get up here sometime and get one himself. I told him I had to sign them out individually, we weren't gonna let them all take them without signing themselves.